You're listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation with Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli. Strategic and tactical advice about inbound sales and marketing.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Yin and Yang Show. Thanks for joining us again this week. It's nice to see my buddy Sig's smiling face. How you doing, Sig?
I'm doing well, Lindsay. It's great to be back in action with you. Though I suppose if you've been listening, you'd have no reason to think we've been away anywhere because we've been, having our summer how-to series
Pre-recorded,
going out for the past few weeks. Lindsay and I took a little bit of time off. So nice to be back live with you once again.
Yes, it is. So, and it's been an exciting summer so far for our how-to series. Lots of great feedback. Actually been getting some good feedback through LinkedIn with people saying, "Hey, loving the podcast." So thank you to everybody who has been listening and commenting. Really appreciate it. You guys make our day when you send us little notes like that. So thank you.
That's great.
So, but today, in continuing our summer how-to series, which I almost forgot about because I sent a topic over to Sig yesterday all about artificial intelligence. I was like, let's talk about this. And that's going to be way more than our 10-minute promise to you guys. So we're going to keep our 10-minute promise today by talking about how to get your website on page 1 of Google. And we will revisit the AI discussion in the fall.
I know, you got me so fired up. I was like, I'm ready to talk about AI and bots and how they're coming for us, but...
They are coming for us. I even have a great title for it.
Oh, you do?
I do. I wrote it down. I don't have it in front of me, but something about, your robot sales reps or something.
Right.
It was pretty good.
So,
yes, you'll have to stand by for that. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Google. Okay. And the reason we're going to do that is because I can't tell you how many times we start conversations with our clients. And typically when we work with our clients, we're working with the marketing director, the sales VP. Many times we're also working with the owner, but they're not always there, or the president of the copier dealership or managed network services dealership. So the one thing they always want to do when we do our monthly reporting meeting is they want to talk about keywords and Google. Am I on page 1? Am I number 1? Why am I not number 1? And so, and so it's always like, well, we've got our strategy, we've picked our keywords, and these are what we're targeting. But we have to be this for this too. And I'm like, okay, wait, you gotta. So I want to talk about how to get to page 1 and kind of some of the things that are involved in it. And this is going to be just a really high level overview for some of you folks who are going to be like, yeah, I know this. But other folks, sometimes it's just nice to take that step back and remind everybody, here are all the elements that you have to think about when you're trying to make sure that your web page is ranking. Because remember, your website, everybody talks about your website as, we want the website to be page 1. Well, it's actually, Google looks at your website as individual pages. So we're going to talk about what to do for these pages and how you're going to get those to be ranked. So I can't imagine what your strategy is over there at HubSpot with the zillions of pages you have.
It's not that different from everyone else necessarily. I mean, it's all the same concept. It's all the same fundamentals. I think, there's a certain point in time where your site gets large enough that you have to start doing things a little bit differently to signal to Google how you're organizing your information. And that's where things like pillar content come in. And, I know you've been exposed to that. I know you've been working through that as well. I think that's built into the software now, a little bit of how to build pillar pages. But yeah, that's really kind of the only difference for us, more or less.
And just so you know, there is a really cool tool inside of HubSpot for our listeners out there. It's the content strategy tool that they've built. And we're actually getting a more in-depth demo on it because I have to say I've been playing with it. Again, it's all focused around long-tail keywords and pillar pages and building on different elements of your content to, build your authority with Google. And we're getting a more in-depth demo because apparently we are not using it to its fullest potential. So I'm very excited about that. That'll be great for us and for all of our clients.
That's great.
But yeah, so, but I want to just kind of drop a couple quick things on you guys. So in doing a little bit of research, I found out that the search result in the number 1 position on Google gets 33% of search traffic. And everybody, and 92% of the clicks that happen all happen on page 1 when somebody's doing a Google search.
That's why we say that the second page of search is where businesses go to die.
Yep. Yep, you might as well be page 100 if you're page 2. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
So that's one of our goals is we want to make sure that we get to page 1, because it's not, again, 33% is a great number. If you're number 1 position, 33% of the time you're going to get clicked on. But really, it's like top 1, 2, or 3. So we really strive for that, you know, above the fold, which is kind of like above the screen. I don't want anybody to have to scroll down. So that's what we go for. So what do you need to do in order to figure out how to be on page 1? First of all, you have to really focus on a long tail keyword phrase. Okay, so pick what you want to be. Pick what you want to focus on. We typically go like 1 to 20 different keyword phrases and long tail keywords that we focus on, because you have a greater opportunity. I mean, if you're trying to go for Xerox, people, you're never going to make it. It's just not going to happen.
So Lindsay, as you're saying that, I just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page with you. Give us your layman's description of a long tail keyword.
So I always go back to one of the first ones I ever heard. If you're trying to rank for red shoes, it's going to be really hard to do that. If you want to rank for 3-inch high heel red shoe, you have a way better shot because you're narrowing down the descriptors and you're getting the exact target audience you're looking for. Because my husband may be looking for red shoes, and if he gets a 3-inch red high heel, he's definitely not in the target market for that. At least not to my knowledge. And so you want to be really specific. And while not as many people might be searching for that phrase, the right people are searching for that phrase.
So that's a super important point, I think, to hit on there, because I think where people get trapped early on in doing keyword research and saying, look, I want to get down for this and that, they start picking keywords that have these search volumes of thousands or tens of thousands of hit. But they're always these short tail keywords. So if you're in the copier space, you're like, well, I want to get ranked number 1 for the word copier or copier dealer or Xerox or whatever that is, and say, look, that's a fool's errand. You're never going to get ranked for that. And I know that there's tons of traffic there, but it's a siren basically, in the Odyssey or whatever. It's like drawing you in. There's nothing really there. It's so difficult to get ranked for that. You're better off, just like you said, choosing something that is far more specific. And yes, the search volume for that is lower, but the quality of those people is significantly higher because they are specifically looking for exactly what you have defined in a very detailed way.
Right. So you're better off going after the keyword term black and white copier in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Because that's what people are looking for. And Google's getting really good at geo-targeting and knowing where their audience is and what they're looking for. Google's algorithm is constantly changing and constantly getting smarter. So you have to keep up with that. And I mean, I could spend all day, every day doing nothing but researching this, but I have somebody else that does that. So I know enough to be dangerous, and that's all we're sharing is enough to be dangerous today. So, so some of the things that you can do to kind of, to look for keywords and identify what might be right for you, because you're like, well, that's great. I want to be known for copiers. I want to be known for managed network services. And how, if I can't get that, what do I get? We always want to add your location in, because that is going to help you from a targeting perspective. And one of the things that we're going to be doing with one client in particular to do some testing is we're going to be creating pages for each of their individual offices, because they're spread across 2 different states. They serve different areas. And so, we're going to do that. We're going to have our keywords. We're going to have our geo-target locators. So we're going to be building that out so that that entry page becomes the page that might be black and white copiers in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the places that you can go to type in keywords and see if it's something that would work for you and get suggestions on other things. Obviously, you can go to HubSpot. HubSpot does have a keyword tool. It's long been said, it's an okay keyword tool. It does just fine for our folks out there that we use it. I know SEO experts and gurus out there are like, oh, this isn't good enough. But for our purposes, it is. We don't really need to go into the whole SEM rush and getting subscriptions to Moz and all that. But keywordtool.io Keyword Toolio.
Mm.
Is one that I've always used. And it just gives you suggestions. So if you type in your keyword, black and white copier, Little Rock, Arkansas, it will come up with a bunch of suggestions that other people have typed in that's similar to that. And that's a free tool. You can pay for it as well and get more insight, but it's a great starting point because for our folks, these small to medium size, copier dealers who are like, $20 million, $40 million dealerships, focus on 10 to 20 words. Don't go haywire because you can't be all things to all people all at the same, like all at one time. If you haven't been doing this for years, you got to start somewhere. Start with your core. Okay. Start with your core. So Keyword Toolio is a great thing. So once you've got those keywords out there, if you have HubSpot, go ahead and put that into the HubSpot platform. And here's what I want you to look for. I want you to look for the volume and I want you to look for the difficulty. More than anything, I want you to look at the difficulty. And the reason is because it is super, super hard if you have no authority built up on your website to rank for a keyword like copiers, because the difficulty is going to be like 98. Okay. It's on a scale of 100. The lower the number, the better opportunity you have to rank for it. So you have to start with a smaller number difficulty and work your way up. Okay. Because Laserfiche owns Laserfiche. So you're not going to own Laserfiche on your website because it's going to be a 97, 96 somewhere out there for how hard it is to actually rank for that term. So, and you also want to look and make sure that your search volume is at least above the word low. So in HubSpot, it says low. That means it's like below 10 as a search phrase in your area. So go ahead and take a look at those two numbers. That's a good indicator as to whether or not you should go for those, okay? So, pick your top 10, all right? And then find the pages of your website and blogs that are relevant to those keyword terms if you already have existing content, okay? And it's a great way to do it. And you want to go on the back end of your website or ask your marketing person or your web developer, and you want them to make sure that they have the keyword in the following places, okay? The title, the heading and the subheading, if possible, the URL. So it would be like, mycopierdealership.com/copiers-little-rock-Arkansas, like if that's your keyword term. That helps a great deal. I mean, we literally have a customer in Las Vegas, and the biggest pain in the butt is competing against the company that's called Copiers Las Vegas. Okay, because every single page of their website says Copiers Las Vegas because that's their name. So it's hard to compete with that. But URL if possible. Every time you have an image on your site, make sure that you have alt text on it because you can give them names and descriptors. So Google actually searches through those now. So make sure that you're naming it appropriately and that you have your alt text properly filled in.
Interesting small bit about that. I think the way someone described it to me is, the reason that alt text is so important is, as amazing as you may think Google is, those spiders that crawl your website can't actually see
the image.
So the only way they know what an image file is. They know how to identify that something is an image, but they can't see it. So that's why you need to actually give it a name. So that they can understand what it is, quote unquote, looking at or thinking.
Yes, right. Yep. That's a great point. Thank you. And it's funny because they didn't do that for a long time, and then it's only been the past few years, 5-6 years or something, even that long that they've been looking through that stuff. Meta description, obviously, like as the meta description, Google does look at it. It's not weighted as heavily as some of the other things, but that's also your meta description is a good user experience because when you have your results page in Google, that's the little text that comes up underneath of the link. So you want to make sure you have a meta description because otherwise, sometimes Google's able to kind of pull pieces of text and autofill it, but you want to control that message. So you want to say, if you're looking for the most economical and highly sophisticated copiers in Las Vegas, I'm just going to keep using Vegas, visit our extensive products catalog page. And then I picked this little tip up from Marcus Sheridan. You only have a certain number of characters that you can put in your meta description before it cuts you off. So what it does after that is it automatically will just truncate So if you keep typing, it'll just cut it off for you. So leave a cliffhanger and put ... because they're going to put ... anyway. If they see ... they won't do it again. But ... So if if you want to know how to economically make your printer do ... Oh, I want to see that. So it's just a little tip. And then you also want to make sure that long-term keyword phrase that you're looking for. Again, one keyword phrase. This is all for one keyword phrase. Okay. Make sure that you have that in the text as well. All right. But don't stuff it everywhere. If I'm reading something and it's so unnatural, it's like, when you're thinking of copiers in Las Vegas, you want to turn to somebody who understands copiers in Las Vegas so that when you're in the Las Vegas area, no, don't do that. You have to make it, Google is getting really good at figuring out that you're stuffing keywords in there. So that black hat stuff won't work anymore. So make sure that it's saturated throughout the page, but not oversaturated. So I'll use like 3 to 5 times if it can happen naturally. So, another tip for building up your authority on your website so that you can rank higher in Google is if you have a page all about Xerox and you are a Xerox dealer, find a really interesting blog on the Xerox website and link to the blog of Xerox, because that has a lot of authority to it, that website. So if you're linking there as your spiders and bots are going through your website and seeing all the different pathways that you're taking, and the link is, a pathway to that, make sure that you have that, because it's like, oh, it's going to this really big site over here with a lot of authority and it's a good site. So they remember that, okay? And then in addition to that, your own internal links. So if you're on a copier page and you're talking about, we carry Xerox, Canon, Konica Minolta, if you have product pages for each of those, hyperlink the Xerox page and take them to the Xerox page, Canon page. It's a good user experience, and it tells Google also that you know what you're doing, because you're giving people a good path, a good user experience online. So, so there's that. And then above all else, when you're creating content and you're writing to this keyword, make sure you remember you're writing to a human. Don't try to write to a robot just because you think you have to stuff a keyword in there. We write first, and then we go back and see if there are natural places where we can tweak it back to those keywords. So write for the humans, write for the humans, write for the humans.
That's great advice. So cover your bases. And I think that kind of ties into, another point, about kind of discoverability. And getting your website found and getting on that first page ultimately is that, still so much significance comes from the other websites that are more authoritative than you linking back into your website. And guess who makes those decisions? Humans. They will read your content. They will say, oh, wow, like this is a really interesting article. This would be relevant for our audience as well. I can use this in a blog post we're writing, and I can send them over to this place. That is extremely difficult. It is one of the hardest parts of content marketing, if not the hardest part, in my opinion. But it is arguably the most valuable part. But you're not going to get any of that unless you're writing really good content that's interesting and at a bare minimum is written for human beings. Yes,
agreed. That's a great point, and that's called backlinks. So when you're trying to get backlinks and you're reaching out to industry experts, and if you're showing somebody, hey, I linked to your blog, I just wanted to send you a note, I found this blog, I linked it on my page, really appreciate the great work that you do over there at Xerox, Mr. Whoever wrote this blog. If there's ever anything we can do for you or articles that you would want to link to for us, please let us know. Happy to help you. Yep. You have these great relationships with these OEMs guys, office equipment manufacturer, Brian, for people are like, what's an OEM? So use them, you know what I mean? Use them. So your sales rep will be more than happy to forward on your request and make him look good. Like, look, They're writing about us and linking to us.
Right.
So
all great tips. For those of you wondering, how the heck am I going to do this? You might be overwhelmed by all those things that need to be done and managed. And you might be saying, I'm not technical. I don't even know how to access our website. To that, I would say, give my good friend, Lindsay Kelly, have her and her wonderful team hold your hand and walk you through the world of search, and a lot more than just that too, by the way.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. Yes. But you know what, guys? This is something that you can do. If you don't have the resources, if you don't have the budget, just dive in and look at the back end of your website and look at some of this stuff, and you'll be able to start figuring it out.
Yeah.
So, yep. Well, Sig, this was a good one. A lot of fun.
Does this officially conclude our summer how-to series, or are we going to be extending the how-to through August, or?
I think up through August, what is it? 21st is the official last day of summer.
Okay.
So we'll do a couple more of these, and then we'll get back into our long one, because I know Tiny Human starts school on August 14th, man.
Oh my gosh, that's so early.
Yeah.
I never started until after Labor Day. I guess, like North and the South are a little bit different with like kind of when they start. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I can't wait.
Topic for a different day. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm like, she's ready to go back as well. Yeah. She is. But all right, folks. Well, thanks for listening again. Find us on Twitter at LV Kelly with an EY, or at Inbound Seller for Mr. Sig. And, hop over to iTunes if you have a moment, and give us a review. We'd really love that. The more reviews we have, the higher up we show up in the goodness of iTunes. And you know what? Until next time, guys, keep the conversation going.
Yeah, keep talking.
You've been listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation with Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli. Join us online at yinandyang.fm.